Smile for the
YouTube, and then
live.
I will This episode of the Off-Road Podcast is sponsored by Warn, Power Tank, and Medical Gear Outfitters.
Off-Road Podcast, episode 275. Bug Out and Apocalypse Vehicles.
Tonight, Aaron becomes a Glocksmith, Jeremy gets mad and breaks things, and Ben does something.
Welcome to the Off-Road Podcast, a podcast about everything off-road. We cover the news, review products, and interview people in the off-road industry. I'm your host, Ben. I'm here with my co-hosts, Aaron and Jeremy.
Well, it's nice to see you guys tonight.
It is good to see
Yeah,
you too.
it's another week. We're back together again.
Absolutely.
Thanks for having me on.
Well, this week in review is brought to you by Medical Gear Outfitters. What are you waiting for? Are you waiting to have a casualty on the trail? Check out medicalgearoutfitters.com to get straightened out. Medical Gear Outfitters has everything you need, whether you are going out for the day or traveling on a year-long expedition. Head over there to get off-road specific kits that meet all of your needs. And those kits are on sale now, right?
Yes, they are. Those kits are live. They're on sale. We've actually sold a handful of them. I was talking to Dietrich. What was it, Saturday night or no, Sunday afternoon? He messaged me and he's like, "Hey, sold a couple of the kits and one of the big ones. We haven't really talked how much they are yet. We're kind of holding off till we get Dietrich on. But the big kit, which is a very spendy kit, which is just loaded, we sold one of those.
Yeah.
I was kind of surprised. I mean, it's a lot of kit. So
It is
it
a
was
lot of kit.
cool to hear one sold. So
Absolutely.
yeah, it's a good thing to hear those are out, and now we've got a couple kits out there in the wild. So I'm happy to see what people think of them once they have them in their hands.
Well, Aaron, let's kick it off with you. What have you been up to?
I don't want to talk about me yet. I want to still talk about Medical Gear Outfitters.
Oh, okay.
You guys missed a critical thing. So not only are they selling those kits, but they're throwing a coupon code our way for our listeners to start using.
That's
Coupon
right.
code is
Oh man, I'm terrible. I even said that I'd get
Off-Road
that out there.
Podcast.
All
Yeah.
one word.
All one word. I don't know if it matters that the O in off-road is capitalized or not, but nothing else is capitalized. Off-Road Podcast gets you 10% off.
Yeah, I don't think it matters.
Let's overtake the We Like Shooting as the top used one, right, guys?
Yeah, that would be amazing.
Yeah, let's do it.
Show Dietrich
That
how
would be
much we love him.
Yeah. So make sure you guys go use that code. It'll not only will it save you money, but it'll give us credit for the sale.
Yeah. Yeah, very cool. So what have I been up to? Thanks for asking, Jeremy. I became a Glocksmith last week.
Oh yeah.
What's a Glocksmith? What's a Glocksmith, Aaron? Well, it's the person who takes a handful of parts and stuffs them into a polymer handguard and tries to make the gun go pew. So that's what I did.
How'd your first attempt go?
It was terrible.
Fine, terrible.
It was really bad. So let's see. I had failure to feed, failure to eject, stovepipes, slide not going all the way forward, bullets getting crazy in the magazine as it's trying to load. Lots of things. So it turns out that I may have had the wrong. It's not extractor. Is it ejector part? The wrong metal part in there.
That spare part that you showed us.
Yeah, so maybe that spare part was for the 9mm, and the one I had in there was for the 40 cal or something. I don't know. So swap that out, and then I had a spring in the right spot, but the end of the spring should have been tucked under a pin rather than tucked over the pin. So I got that taken care of. And I dropped a little bit of lube on the slide. Um, and it racks really nice now. Everything seems to function well. I haven't taken it out to go pew pew with it yet because we're in the middle of hunting season on my property, and I don't want to scare those little four-legged critters away.
How did you find out that it had failures? Where did you shoot it?
What was this slide from a 40?
No, the slide's not from a 40.
Because I saw you
I
had
did
two
shoot it on
ejectors
my
there.
property.
Oh, sorry.
Well, I think that it just came with. I think the kit just came with both types or something. I don't know. There was no instructions. I had to watch some videos on the YouTube. Apparently, the one I chose wasn't the best one to watch. There was some missing information in the video, so I just kind of winged it. It's the first Glock I've ever taken apart or put together, so I really don't know where the parts and pieces go. And I don't have one of those gun cleaning mats that has all the Glock parts on it.
Well, that sounds like you need to get one then.
Yeah.
Oh, I was going to show you this one,
Besides,
but it doesn't.
yeah, show me.
No, it doesn't. It's a great
Oh,
ghost one,
no,
but
it
it
sure
doesn't. I
doesn't.
thought it did.
Where'd you get that at? Yeah,
Um,
I'm gonna need that.
their special party they had a couple years ago.
Oh man, I didn't get one of those.
Yeah, it was what was it, TriggerCon 2 years ago?
I
Ryan
figured
Crawford
it was
call it?
probably. I figured it's probably the Trigger Con. I'm gonna have to hit up my boyfriend Ryan Cross. See if he'll give me one of those for a tongue kiss or something.
Oh, you guys took it to the next level, huh? I just thought you guys were still being flirty.
Nah, that relationship's really moved on, hasn't it?
Well, I mean, how do you think I get all these awesome stuff?
You know he has a kid, right?
Whose kid do you think it is?
Wow.
Well, that leads to a whole lot of other questions. So let's move on to Ben and just leave that topic behind.
Oh man, yes, yes, indeed. So I've been working on the trailer, working around the house.
Trailer? What trailer?
my Toyota truck bed trailer.
Oh, okay.
I-
What are you doing to that?
I've trying to add some lighting inside of it. I think I shared a picture a
course.
while back ago.
Ben always goes for the lighting before anything else.
Oh no,
Lights
no, no,
before
no, no.
lockers.
So the
You
back
need
of
some
it,
lockers in that trailer. Come on.
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. So what I'm doing is I have some like 3M adhesive rock lights that I never intended to use as rock lights. But I put those on the hatch in the rear so that I can plug them into a battery and use it
Wait,
as a
is that one of those dollar
kitchen.
store toggle switch things?
No, it's
you were
not one of
sharing?
those ones. I do have one of those though.
All right.
And I use that, and I actually did use that in the trailer. I had it up on the roof of the cab because it's got a canopy. But I just wanted like a cooking area that we're using the back of the tailgate as a cooking area. So I figured I'd put some lights there. Outside of that, it's just been working around the house and all that. I think I've got a sticking brake caliper again. So I've got to go get a new caliper. Well, I've got to test it and find out if I've got a sticking brake caliper because I've got like this weird hum when I drive.
On
And
on the trailer or on your Forerunner?
on the Forerunner.
Okay.
It's actually Teddy in the back.
It's a weird hum. It's really out of
yeah.
key.
No, it's kind of like a high pitched, not quite a not quite a squeal, but like yeah. So
Well, if it was a sticking brake caliper, you should be able to tell if your calipers are hotter on one side than the other.
yeah, I
If it's
haven't got
dragging.
to work and gone and pulled out the digital temperature gauge thing, the laser, and just to see. I'm like I usually like get to work and it's like right to work. So I'll find
Maybe
out.
plan ahead next time and get to work a little early.
Yeah, that'd probably be a good idea. I'm usually like right on time or like 2 minutes early.
Are you trying to get the trailer ready for something? Besides,
So we were supposed to go camping. What was it? Last weekend? Was it last
Mhm.
weekend? And we didn't go. Just
Yeah,
too
you
many.
were supposed to go to the Panhandle Overland Rally or something, I thought.
No, I had talked about going to that, but things didn't line up. And then this last week, um, I was like, I really want to go camping. And so my wife's like, well, let's go. And I'm like, okay, good. So we're going next weekend. So I've just been kind of loading up the trailer. I want to take it out more and actually use it because, I mean, I paid for it. Might as well use it, right?
Yeah. And it lets you bring all the extra crap that your family loves.
Oh my goodness. I was loading it up today and it was just like, oh, I don't have to worry about where I'm going to put this. And I can just leave the back of the Forerunner empty. And oh, well, yeah, I should throw that back there and this. And yeah, it's fun.
There you go. Well, what have you been up to, Jeremy?
Well, I'm about halfway saved for axles. 64% last time I calculated it. So it's moving
64
along.
point-
Percentage.
64 point what?
I don't know.
Oh, you don't have it down to the decimal point?
I may somewhere here. Let's see. 64.623663%.
There we go.
Um,
That's what I needed to hear.
yeah, I have it in a Excel spreadsheet where I'm tracking everything. So I just did it as a calculation in there. So it's
Yeah,
right
so
there.
is that including the $200 that Ben hasn't paid you yet for the
No,
Max Tracks?
I haven't talked to Ben about this, but I'm having second thoughts about selling the Max Tracks.
Wow.
Well, as we'll find out in one of our later stories, they help you when you need to do
Yeah,
vehicle trips.
after I found that out, and since I have a Jeep, I mean, which that joke is not going to make sense to you unless you until you hear later on in the in the episode. But
Yep, in the
anyway,
notes.
beyond that, I've been dealing with my countershaft bolt. So I was it last week or 2 weeks ago on the show, I talked about replacing the seal. The countershaft bolt kept coming loose, and so I got frustrated with it and went after it with the impact gun because I got tired of tightening it every single day.
Yeah, how many Ooga Doogas did you send it with?
3 to 5 seconds
one-
with the impact gun.
One too many Ooga Doogas?
Yeah, one too many. And all of a sudden, the impact gun started spinning freely, and I went, "Ooh, that's not good." So I was able to get a new tool. I didn't have a good broken bolt extractor set, so I just ran over to the hardware store, picked up a set, and came home, and it was out within half an hour, and I already had a spare bolt. So
I mean, you
Oh, that's
literally had to run, didn't you? Because I mean, that's your bike and your Jeep broken.
well, I took my wife's car.
So in the comments here, Rick is
Oh,
saying,
oh gosh, I
he-
keep forgetting to get him photos and stuff.
yeah, he wants to buy photos from our trip all the way back in, was it March,
Yeah,
March or April?
something like that.
Oh, I figured it was for
Hey?
Jeremy's
Hey.
OnlyFans page.
Oh, yeah, Rick, I'll get you those tomorrow. I'm probably not going to do it after the show because then it gets late and I got to go home. I got to go to bed. But yeah, so everything was good to go. I think my problem was I kept trying to work on it after I rode home. So the bike was still hot, and so I kept putting Loctite on it, and it just didn't seem like the Loctite kept was getting set. And actually, I was also trying to do it in the morning right before I rode to work, so I don't think the Loctite was having a good time to set up. Also, the as you try to torque that bolt, you actually just kind of spin the engine. So even when it's in gear, so I even putting it up against the side of my house and having it in gear, I just wasn't getting enough torque. So I went out. So yeah, using the impact gun for that long was the bad idea. But I gave it 1 second with the impact gun, and it didn't break, and it hasn't backed off. Knock on my workbench here to make sure that it
Is there-
doesn't back off.
Is there not like a torque spec or something?
It is. It's 60 foot-pounds, but
And you
I
just can't
couldn't
achieve that?
60 foot-pounds to it
Hmm.
because it kept spinning the engine and
Trying to put that power to the ground.
correct. Yes,
Hmm.
exactly.
What if you put it in like fifth gear instead of first gear? Would that make a difference?
Maybe. Well, I mean, it's working now, so
Sick burn right
I'm
there.
not gonna touch it. I'll keep the spare socket in my backpack like I have been, and it will never back off again. There
we
was
go.
one day I was riding home and I literally had to stop every like half mile to hand tighten it back because it kept spinning out.
Oh my
And that was the day probably I dumped maybe a quarter cup of oil on the parking garage floor throughout the day. When I got back to my bike, it was like, oh yeah, well that's leaking because the bolt's not tight.
Isn't that like a typical Land Cruiser amount though?
Yeah, I mean it's
Not that big of a deal.
no, no. As long as you're not doing that every single day, it'll be fine. Don't worry about it. And Rick also said, weren't you just planning to sell those to Ben? Yep.
No, that's not what he says. Read that again.
Oh, telling Ben to plan ahead. I
Yeah.
read selling instead of telling.
Yeah.
What was I supposed to be telling him to plan ahead on? And why was I
Say,
hypocritical?
Getting to work early so he could test something, and you weren't giving yourself enough time to get the Loctite dry, etc.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Hey guys, we're looking to reach more listeners. We're going to start reading Apple iTunes reviews on air. If you hear yours, send us a message with your address, and we'll send you an Off-Road Podcast sticker. You can find all of our social media by just searching our name. Now, go hit that subscribe button.
And we also want to thank out Patriot Patch for being one of our great sponsors, longtime sponsor. We always talk about the patch of the month. Here it is. I got it in. I actually got it in the day of our last episode when you guys got yours. But apparently someone told me they checked the mail, but they didn't check the mail. So it was just sitting in there.
A kid
So there's
who
or a
lied?
spouse?
there's the patch, a spouse patch, the matching sticker,
Got the artist proof.
of course, the artist proof. And what's cool about the artist proof is on the back it shows you the previous
12 months.
12 months. Yep. What that was the last month, and then the month prior to that, and the month prior to that, just working its way backwards. So yeah, very cool.
So I'm curious if have you seen November's yet?
No.
I mean, you
Did
talk
he
to your
post
boyfriend
it
all
in
the
the
time.
group yet?
No, but
Oh,
Aaron's his boyfriend.
So he and I spent 2 hours in the hot tub when he came down for my shoot, and he was showing me a ton of his patch stuff for the coming up things. And
whoa. What coming up things?
all the months,
Oh, okay. Phew.
the patch of the month things.
Thought that was going somewhere I didn't want to go.
Yeah. And
Well, actually,
I don't remember what they all were.
so I'm curious if there's going to be another Tactical Tom.
Most likely.
And
That's
then
kind of the
did you guys see
Thanksgiving
they just announced the Plague Doc or the Apocalypse patches with the Plague Doctor?
Yep, the Plague Doctor's coming out this Friday. I doubt this podcast will air by then, but for those listening live, as your heads up, I think it's 2 p.m. Central, and I think it's only 100 of them. So, Jeremy, you're going to get in on it again?
I don't know.
You limited
Axles
run
and all.
patch? Yeah, it's only
$15.
$15. You guys
I don't
jealous
know.
of
We'll
this
see.
guy?
What about that guy?
I said, are you jealous of this one?
I have
Ben's
one.
shaking his head. Yeah. Ben, do you have
Yeah.
one?
I do.
No, I didn't get that one.
The only one you got was the one I got for you.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, anyways, Patriot Patch makes awesome stuff. Check them out.
The news is brought to you by PowerTank, the ultimate mobile onboard air system for performance, versatility, and reliability. They are your source for all air-related accessories. Check them out at powertank.com.
Well, it's that time of the year again. It's Rebel Rally time, and Aaron, you went all out with Rebel Rally news coverage.
Yeah, I thought this would be fun, not just talking about one thing, but let's just talk about all of it. It is actually happening as we speak, although they're probably having dinner right now. They're probably not. Hopefully, nobody's out there still driving around in the desert. Um, but yeah, this is the 5th year that they've been doing it. It only seems like it's been 2 or 3. I'm shocked to hear that they're up to 5 already.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy because we've covered it just about every year. I
Yeah,
don't think we covered it the first year.
we must not have covered it the first year if it's been going for 5 years. It just feels like it's longer than that. I don't know. So, but yeah, it started last Thursday. Today's Monday, so it's been going, and I think it goes for 10 days. So it'll be ending this coming weekend. 36 teams, 2 women each team. Math comes out to 72 ladies in competition. So, this article talks about it only talks a little bit about what it's about. Um, it mentions that you can't use a GPS, you can't use a cell phone. It's all map, compass kind of thing. And they mention a road book. So, map and compass, you got to find waypoints in the desert. Um, Pretty technical stuff. I would be shocked if anybody could just step into and try to compete in this without having any training.
A driver could, but not necessarily a navigator.
Navigator. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it says that they're going through natural terrains of California and Florida.
I'm not sure why it says Florida. Um, yeah.
I'm gonna say that's a typo.
I feel like it is because the Rebel Rally has mostly stuck to like California and Nevada. So maybe I don't know, maybe their geography is a little off.
That'd be pretty
Yeah.
awesome. Swamp to desert.
Well, I mean, you'd spend 2 days at least just driving across the country.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
you could do it in a day if you had like a special gas tank and you're going really fast, not following um, laws.
All that's all highway also.
Yeah.
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 So
No, I'm sure like the Bronco would do really good in that.
it mentions in this article that there are 3 teams crewing a Bronco this year.
Really?
Yeah,
I know
Shelby
Shelby-
Hall is one of them.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
know Shelby Hall is. I'm friends with her on Facebook, and I've seen some
Yep.
posts of her, like signing up and all that. But that's cool. Three Broncos.
Yeah. The one cool thing about this article is that they've got links to a, a live page. You can get tracking of the vehicles, videos from base camp, and daily updates. So it's kind of neat that you can get that information. Our next article here is about the Lexus LX570, and it is the J201 concept. And this is being driven by Rachel Croft and Taylor Pauly, who are obviously competing in the Rebel Rally. They mentioned in this article that this concept will probably never be a legit vehicle that they sell, mostly because the LX 570 is a niche vehicle in itself. They only sold 4,718 of them in 2019, so not very many of them. But this thing is pretty legit. It's got 33-inch wheels. Sorry, 33-inch tires, not 33-inch wheels. 17-inch wheels, 33-inch tires. It's got lifted suspension, although I don't see anything that says how high they lifted it. Skid plates, onboard compressor. But kind of the highlight here is that it's got 550 horsepower, 550 foot-pounds of torque, thanks to a supercharger.
Yeah, that's just insane. I mean,
Mhm.
I
it
I,
is.
It's
I think
a lot of power.
if they did that in a production vehicle, I bet it would sell just because of the amount of power.
People like power.
Yes, they do.
Um,
Yeah.
what
Well,
they
and
leave out though
so
is what
I when I
engine it's. Go ahead, Ben.
I was so when I popped open the article, it had research on the side and it showed 2018 Lexus. Well, I can see why or 5 LX 570 why they are only selling that many. They're $86,000 on
Woo.
Yeah,
MSRP.
they're not cheap. That's for sure.
And if I'm trying to remember it. 570 the Forerunner, right? Or is that the Land Cruiser sized one?
You went robot, so I didn't actually hear what you said.
I'm pretty sure this is the Land Cruiser size one. So I'm surprised it's not more money.
Yeah, that's just
Uh,
crazy.
the article mentions that they don't say what engine the supercharger is connected to. So the stock LX570 has a 5.7 liter V8, which is 383 horsepower, 400 foot-pounds of torque. Um, but they're not saying if that's the actual engine that they're using. They just won't say. So just kind of curious to know. It says regardless, they're running the auto, the stock automatic transmission, um, but it does have upgraded differentials. Once again, they don't say anything about the differentials. So just kind of curious. This
Probably
article mentions that the Rebel Rally is happening in California and Nevada, and that it's 2,000 miles of grueling terrain.
that makes more sense.
Well, we'll cover that in the next article here. We'll just jump ahead. And this next article is by the same website, Autoblog, different author, but in this one, it mentions that they're only going to be covering 1,200 miles of rough terrain. So I don't know if that's because this one's a Nissan and it's not going to make it the entire time, and the other one's a Toyota, so they're going to be able to complete the 2,000 miles. I'm not sure. But this article is about the Infinity QX80, which is the biggest SUV that Infinity makes, and they threw it out there for Cal Mini to build up for them, and Cal Mini added 18 inches of wheels. They do not say a tire size, which I'm kind of bummed about. I'd love to know what size tires they're running on here. 3 inches of lift, heavy duty control arms, off road shocks, high clearance bumpers front and rear, and thicker skid plates. So I didn't know that the QX80 came with skid plates. I'm not sure, but it says it has thicker skid plates, and it also has a power tank system on this one.
Ooh.
Yeah, power tank.
There we go.
So a couple of things. I went to the Rebel Rally website. They said 2,000 kilometers. So was the other one in kilometers or was it in miles?
I'm pretty sure it was in miles. I'll
And
pull that article.
I'm
back up.
I'm gonna guess based on the pictures, with that being an 18-inch wheel, that it's 33s.
That's my guess also, is that they're probably 33s. Yeah, so it does say that it goes through 2,000
Yep.
miles of grueling terrain. So yep, they didn't do their metric to SAE conversion.
They did not. And about 1,200 miles is the right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So as we were alluding to Max Tracks earlier in our week in review here, this article says that not only did they add the power tank, other extras include a rally computer, heavy duty shackles and ropes, tow straps, and 2 sets of Max Tracks platforms. And then in quotations here, it says to lift the vehicle for service if necessary. a fire extinguisher, and 2 full-size spares secured in a custom-built cargo area cage. So, if you didn't know this, now you know. You can use your MaxTrax platforms to service your vehicle.
Yeah. Does
or
it like
to
jack it up
lift
for you?
your vehicle. Well, to lift it so that you can service it if necessary.
So at 3 inches if you have 2 sets?
Yeah, it does say 2 sets. So maybe if you do you have a tape measure anywhere close, you can set your MaxTrax on the ground and you can measure up and see how much ground clearance you'd gain.
It's about 3 inches.
About 3 inches.
Yeah. Give or take.
Okay, 3 inches. Gotcha. Yeah. So this is I do like the fact that someone Calmini built these front and rear off-road bumpers. They're kind of plain, but I think that they blend in really well on this rig. I do like the Lexus bumpers better. Way more style in the Lexus bumpers, and the Lexus had a winch built in the front. This one doesn't say anything about a winch, and I don't see a winch or any sort of dongle hanging out the front that the rope would be hanging off of. So I don't
Nope,
think there's
there's-
winch on this.
No winch, but they could throw the rough country Insta winch on there.
There you go. Yeah, the magnetic one. Unless it's an aluminum bumper, I'm not sure.
That's a fair point.
Yeah. They just have to use double-sided tape instead of the magnet portion.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. And then the Lexus had the dual swing outs on the back of that, which is always impressive when you see dual swing outs. I thought that was really nice. Nice touch.
Yeah, I wonder how much the over X Overland guys they had in with building the Lexus, versus like the Infinity guys. Like they had a company build it. Like, oh, okay, well we off road, we know what we want. Versus those guys, like maybe they weren't so much a off road shop as more of a I don't know, like car shop.
Well, Calmini builds lifts and stuff for all kinds of rigs. But the more I think about it, is the winch really that necessary? I thought that when we were talking Mercedes, they didn't pull out their winch once. They didn't use their pole pal at all.
Yeah,
Yeah, that is the point.
I'd say definitely unless you're going to bring a pole pal, probably the MaxTrax are going to serve you better than having the winch because you're probably
Yeah.
not going to try to wait for somebody to come around. You're going to be trying to get
Mhm.
yourself out beforehand.
Yeah. Yep, exactly.
Well, we got some listener feedback from the last episode.
Ooh, can I do my Aaron impersonation?
No.
Okay.
So Aaron pointed out in our last episode that we didn't do anything about comms, and that is a very vital part of gear for the end of the world.
Yeah, stupid.
Yeah,
Yeah.
jeez, can't believe we forgot about comms.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's the other Aaron, our buddy Special K, who's regular commenter here on the YouTube and camps with us.
Well, the reason why we didn't talk about comms, we held it off on purpose because we were going to do a comms specific episode where we just talk about comms, right? That was our reason, I think.
Sure, let's go with that. No, the reason we didn't cover it is we didn't think about it.
Yeah, I think we've done a comms episode fairly recently.
Did we?
Ham radio. That's the only way to go.
Yeah.
The only right answer. And if it's the end of the world, you don't even need to worry about getting licensed.
That's it right there. Why bother with a license now? The end
Yeah.
of the world's coming.
Yeah. There you go. We covered it now, Aaron. Jeez.
Yeah, that's all you got to know.
Go prepared with Warren Industries. They produced the first recreational winch in 1959 and lead the industry with their dedication to quality and reliability. When you dig yourself in deep, make sure you have the right tools to get yourself out. Get Warren equipped and go where others can't. Now, let's get ready for adventure and head into our main topic.
Well, for this episode, we're talking bug out and apocalypse vehicles. So, um, bug out vehicle is kind of like a serious topic, and the apocalypse rig topic that we're going to have is going to just kind of be silly and over the top. Maybe not silly, but over the top. Going to be fun. So, a bug out vehicle is something that you want to get you from point A to point B. That's going to be more efficient than walking, because who really wants to walk? Walking sucks, right?
Right, especially depending upon the walk. I mean, like if it like your 20-minute drive from work is what? It's a day-long walk home.
No, it's not.
Well, 20 minutes could be 18 miles. That's a day
Yeah.
long.
Okay, fine.
Yeah. I mean, for overweight people like Ben and I
Yep.
and Jeremy,
Probably take me
who
2
aren't
days. to get
we aren't
home.
in our peak physical condition, I should say. Maybe we're just not in our peak physical condition.
I'm definitely not in peak. I'm like
Yeah.
pass out and crawl to the side of the road and die. Help me.
Yeah. Well, one other reason to have this bug out vehicle is that you want to transport as much of your gear and supplies and people as possible if you have to leave your house. Bugging in is usually the best option, but it's not always going to work out, or it isn't always going to be um, the case. Maybe you live in some densely populated area. Maybe you live in downtown Portland. I don't know. Hopefully, you've got a place to go if you cannot bug in where you're planning to stay. So, I got a list here of places to, not places, things that you can use as a bug out vehicle. Um, should we talk about these individually as we mention them, or just mention them?
Sure, let's talk about them. So the first one that's on the list is a wagon, like a radio flyer.
Yeah. I mean, if nothing else, um, at least you can drag a little bit of gear with you rather than keeping it all on your back, or a small child.
Totally. And if you upgraded that to like one of those gorilla carts, I think those can hold like, I don't know, it's something crazy like 700 pounds or something like that.
What's a gorilla cart?
We have one at work. It's like a black cart on ruggedized wheels.
Black. Yeah. Is it?
It's got
Are
tactical.
they
capacity.
manufactured by Harambe and Co?
I don't think so, but yeah, probably not. No.
Yeah.
It's kind of
Hopefully-
just a yard cart, and it actually like most of them dump, and you can dump things out.
Oh, that's cool.
And actually,
Well, the next-
it's actually 1,200 pounds.
Oh wow, that's quite a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a
1,200
significant
pounds
amount
is
of weight.
that's more payload than some of the mid-sized pickup trucks can have in their bed.
That's a fair point.
Yeah. What are the dimensions or the bed area on a gorilla cart? Can you like guesstimate?
So you get 7 cubic feet. It's about all I got.
That's not very big. That's like a medium-sized wheelbarrow.
Yes, yeah,
think-
it's
I
not
think
it's
those-
not huge.
Those wheelbarrows are like 10 cubic feet, I think.
Yeah. So
Well,
you can carry a lot of really heavy stuff.
yeah, dense, or maybe you just need some like big old sideboards on it.
Yeah, I bet
can
you wouldn't
stack-
want to. I bet you wouldn't want to be dragging that thing very long distance. So if it had 1,200 pounds in it,
1,200 pounds. But you could be like, well, but downhill. But then again, it's going to be pushing you down the hill.
absolutely.
It'll spin around and it'll be dragging you down the hill. Yeah. The next thing on the list here is a horse or a pack animal. So most people aren't going to have horses or pack animals at their disposal, but if you do, or if you know some place that has them, that would be a good choice for a bug out I shouldn't call it a vehicle, but a bug out option, because once again, you can ride it, you can load it up with stuff, it can pull your gorilla cart around. Um,
It's fairly
Not terrible.
quiet compared to a car.
yeah, it would be quiet, but you got to feed them. The good news is you can feed them just about anything that's dry and I shouldn't say dry. That's not dry. That's growing around the ground in places. They'll eat on most any grasses and stuff. You can't just grab grass off the ground and shove it in your fuel tank.
Well, you can, but it's not going to do you any good.
That's true. That's true. Well, so here in the comments, Clash Royale is asking if the asteroid is coming before 2040. I don't know the answer to that. I'm not into astrology, so I just don't know. And he says that the Mayans say that there is if there's an event before 2040, or that there is an event before 2040 that will reset the Earth. I didn't know that. I thought that their calendar stopped at 2012, and that's why we were in a panic 8 years ago. Not sure.
And Rick threw on to the end of that we could use it.
Use the reset. Yeah.
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 So that next vehicle that we have on there is a bicycle or mountain bike.
Those are two different things.
They are.
One is the same as the other, but a mountain bike would probably be better in any bug out situation than a road bike or a Huffy.
Yeah,
On-
and
on
then
a-
you can. I was
Go
gonna
ahead,
say,
Ben.
you could pair it with a bike trailer.
Yeah.
And, you really load it down with stuff. I've seen it rolling. I've seen them rolling around here in Seattle and Tacoma, just loaded full of stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
it'd work.
And you could probably build some DIY stuff with shopping carts or whatever to drag behind a bicycle. Yeah, I didn't have shopping cart put on here. Should say radio flyer wagon / shopping cart. I'm gonna fix
There you
that right
go.
now in the show notes.
And if you go the extra mile, you can get an e-bike and maybe a way to charge up the battery.
Or get a weed whacker and connect a weed whacker to them. I've seen that done to power bicycles before.
Yeah, the little bicycle powered. Add like a chain with a clutch thing. I've seen them.
Yeah. They're loud though. It wouldn't be very
They
stealth.
are loud.
Although I suppose you could turn it off when you need stealth mode.
Yeah,
Yeah, but if you're going to that level, you might as well just go ahead and get yourself a motorcycle, which is the next
Yeah.
thing on our list.
Yeah, good segue, Jeremy. You're getting good at this.
It's only been 2.5 years.
Yeah, so motorcycles, all shapes and sizes. They can be as small as a 49cc scooter like Ben has, all the way up to a liter bike and larger crotch rocket. So I'm not sure a crotch rocket would be probably the best for bugging out, but hey, you never know. Depends on how
One of those-
fast the zombies run.
one of those touring bikes with the trailers with the tent, like the touring bikes with the tent trailer. It'd be handy.
I could see Ben on a Goldwing.
Yeah.
A Goldwing
see that.
trike.
Yeah. Oh. Oh man.
So he doesn't fall over and hurt his bum again.
So I don't think Ben should use his scooter after the last time we took it out to Tahuya and it ran not very well, to say the
We're
least.
We're still getting comments on YouTube about that video. I'm glad you guys made that video.
Yeah.
I think we need to do a revenge of Tahuya.
I think
I
we
do
need
too.
to. Although
I do.
we kind of missed the window because unless you're going to throw a snorkel on that thing, because it's now wet.
Well,
Yeah, it's very wet. There was
So-
I shared a video with you guys. There's a guy that rolled over there this weekend doing
I
donut.
couldn't believe
Yeah, I saw that.
What a dum dum.
I know.
That
So,
was-
so do a snorkel. Before we get too far off topic, put a snorkel on that thing, and then let's go do another video.
Yeah.
all right,
do it.
I'll start working on a snorkel. It shouldn't be too hard. Some PVC pipe and some rubber connectors and some hose clamps.
And
Yeah,
there you go.
There
Full
we go.
send.
And I will say though, depending on your choice of bike, really changes this up. So like if you go with the dirt bike, you don't really have very much load capacity since there's not really much to the dirt bikes. Like on the fenders, you can't just throw stuff on the fenders. There's no rear seat to throw things on. You're probably limited to whatever you could carry in some small. I mean, they have some bags that you can put on there, but you're probably not going to be carrying that much. If you go with Ben's Goldwing, then yeah, you could probably load that thing up pretty good.
Well, and then you
Yeah.
could go like the touring dual sports, and they carry a decent amount of stuff.
Yeah,
I
they've
mean,
got
they're pretty packed small.
you can buy or build some pannier racks. I think that's how they say that, and bolt stuff to the back fenders of them, and then people put tank bags and stuff, and all kinds of doodaddy things. So, but it's still you still got to travel light. Although I have seen a pretty sweet one wheel trailer that had its own like shock absorber that you can attach to dirt bikes. It was kind of cool. Like
That is
a
pretty cool.
like an off-road one wheel. It looked like someone took the front of a scooter off and put a shock up there. I think that's where the shock was, and then connected it to a bike. And so it's just kind of like you're dragging the back half of a scooter around. It just was a flat platform. Kind of neat.
So we could almost throw a quad in that motorcycle category too,
Certainly, yeah.
Totally.
and same problems. Well, depending upon size and all that, but you do get a little bit more space with that.
Yeah, and I guess I don't have side by sides on here either, or anything in the side by side type category. So, yeah, that would also work well. Well, the next thing here is a passenger car, and those come in all shapes and sizes. They could be super teeny tiny, like a Geo Metro, or they could be gigantic, like a Mercedes Benz station wagon or something, where you can stack a lot of stuff in one versus you can't stack a lot of stuff in the other.
Lincoln Continental.
Yeah, Lincoln Continental. It just kind of depends on what you have access to and room for.
That this might be a digression, but I think we have our next gambler rig, a Reliant Robin.
Oh man. I love those things. I was actually going to say Reliant Robin when I was going from the least to the greatest on the sizes there, but I didn't think I should throw that out for fear that our audience might not know what that is. But you just went there.
I did. I went there.
You want to describe it?
Yeah, it's kind of like a old, I don't know, would you say 80s sedan kind of looking thing?
Not sedan because that'd be 4 doors.
Oh, true. Yeah. Okay,
It's
fine, a little coupe.
2-door hatch.
Yeah, two-door hatch. That's the best way to describe it. But it's only got 3 wheels.
Mhm.
And if you watch Top Gear, you'll remember Jeremy Clarkson purposefully rolling it multiple times when he had to drive one once.
Yeah. So where is it missing a wheel if it only
Up
has 3?
front.
Yeah. So
front.
yeah, it only has 1 up front, 2 up the back. I believe they're rear wheel drive, which is kind of cool. And
Yeah.
I've seen a video recently where someone's got one of those and they're just bombing through the woods, bombing through some really rutty, muddy puddle areas. And that thing isn't stopping for nothing. I mean, it's tippy and everything, but it just goes. And I think it's just because the weight is on the rear axle. The engine might be in the back, kind of like a Volkswagen Beetle. I'm not entirely sure. And they're super lightweight. So, yeah.
Yeah, the only problem I see is it'd be like Jeremy Clarkson did. It'd be like driving around a 3-wheeler, and tip it over. Though I guess it wouldn't be all that hard to get it back, tip back. Just kind of tip it.
You just
Yeah.
got to build a good roll cage.
Yeah. Put some training wheels out there.
There you go. Yeah,
Yeah.
now you're thinking.
Some
Well,
like
as
angled
we move out the scale in vehicles here, the next one would be like a SUV or a truck. The thing about this next size is they're more than capable of pulling trailers. I guess passenger cars generally can pull trailers, but smaller trailers. Probably you could maybe if you had a passenger car, you could like rent a trailer and use that trailer to go to another state to pick up axles even. In a non-apocalypse situation. But Yeah, truck or SUV. It's the next size up. Definitely more payload, more capacity for gear on top, inside, room for more people, room for more towing, more ground clearance. Options would include four-wheel drive, all-wheel drive.
You can get that in some passenger cars too, but not
Definitely.
nearly as
Yeah.
common as a truck SUV, where it's
Mhm.
Well,
almost standard.
it's
All-wheel
getting there.
drive seems to be more common in cars. That is true. But
Yep, it is.
more than likely, trucks and SUVs are going to have all-wheel drive or four-wheel drive of some sort. Moving up in size, buses and motorhomes. I just saw an article today where some kid in Georgia, I think it was Georgia, stole a school bus. He was 11 years old, led police on a police chase. So it can't be that hard to drive a bus. If an 11-year-old can do it, apparently he was laughing and flipping the police officer off
He
while he's
really
driving. So
wanted to
it
go back to school, huh?
can't be that bad. Someone said that his dad wouldn't buy him Grand Theft Auto, so he's just living it out in real life. I don't know if that was a real story or not. But yeah, it can't be that hard to drive a bus. If an 11-year-old can do it, you can do it. Motorhomes, kind of the same thing. Big, long, square, boxy area. The thing about these is you can live in them a lot easier than you can other things. Although I've seen people living in cars and trucks. Overlanders do it. So can you?
It's probably just not as comfortable and gets a lot harder when you start adding kids to the picture.
Yeah.
Yeah, can you imagine living in an SUV with kids and then trying to live in a bus or a motorhome? So much easier,
Yeah. Yeah. You
especially
can
like
put bunk beds in a bus.
yeah, a big yellow school bus that'd be great for that. Versus even a short bus would make it pretty easy.
You pretty
Yeah.
familiar
Actually, a
with
short
those,
bus
Ben?
would.
What short buses?
The thing. the thing about when you move up to the bus and motorhome category is most of the time you're not going to have ground clearance. Turning radius is going to be bad. Fuel economy is going to be terrible. That kind of stuff. So they do make some four-wheel drive buses, four-wheel drive motorhomes, but those are the exception to the rule.
Yeah, like near Yellowstone, they have some the four-wheel drive buses that have been ice landed out with the big floaty tires and all that. Or not,
I
it's
don't
not a
think
full
so.
bus. It's like a short bus, or maybe it's more of the passenger vans is what I'm thinking of.
Yeah, that's right. Like the airport shuttles. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So there's another one, airport shuttles. So you can get short buses, you can get airport shuttles, you can get short motorhomes. So that'll help you with turning radiuses and things like that. So, like I mentioned, there's exceptions to every rule. Last one in the category is a military vehicle. Um, Military rigs. Apparently, it's not that hard to steal military vehicles when the National Guard is around. They're not
No,
paying
it's like
close enough attention. You just jump in and start them and drive it away. Ben
it's like
knows how to
two.
start them.
Yeah, it's only like two or three
Yeah.
switches and a button.
Flip the rocker, push the button. Yep. Drive it away.
I mean, there's no keys. So
Yeah.
There's no keys. Exactly. So if you know the right sequence, you can do it. I'm probably going to guess that there's videos on YouTube on how to do that.
How to start a Humvee,
Yeah.
part
One
one.
thing One thing I just thought of that is not on our list is a boat. Boats could be bug out vehicles if you needed to get from somewhere to somewhere. Um, I'd be surprised if you could bug out like to the ocean and not come back or try to bug out to another continent in a boat. You'd have to have a lot of supplies because there's nowhere to really resupply out there. You can't go. You can't just go raid another boat to try to get supplies because the ocean's pretty big.
You couldn't be a pirate.
But you could be a pirate, but you could cross some big lakes. You could go down some large rivers and get to other settlements. So it could definitely be a bug out vehicle, as well as airplanes and helicopters, which
Yeah, there was what the Barefoot Bandit. He stole a couple Cessnas or little
yeah, I think he stole more than
float
one
planes.
airplane. I'm still waiting for a movie to come out about that guy.
Yeah, one of these
I want
days.
to know the full story there. So, for those that don't know, the Barefoot Bandit was like a teenager, I
Yeah, he
think.
learned to fly on Flight Simulator. He was only, I want to say, he's like 15 at the time.
Yeah, up in the San Juan Islands area, I believe, and he would steal people's boats. He would live in people's vacation homes, and nobody knew who he was, and they couldn't catch him. And then finally, somehow he got caught. Of course.
There's a movie on Amazon from 2012. There's a documentary from 2015.
I guess I'm not paying enough attention.
And from 2014.
Yeah. Well, there we go. I'll have to check that out because that sounds it sounds right up my alley of entertainment. So most vehicles will work for any situation, but there's scenarios where they're not going to work. So I um, figured we could go through and list some scenarios here and talk about what work for those situations. So the first one, vehicle congestion. So we talked about bugging out of a city. There's definitely going to be vehicle congestion, heavy car traffic, um, broken down vehicles, vehicles that are out of fuel, um, that kind of stuff. So you don't usually just drive a school bus through heavy congestion. So you're going to want to be walking or pulling a wagon. This is where that horse comes into play. Although usually, if you're in the city, you don't have a horse. Bicycles, motorcycles, or here's the fun one: truck with a reinforced bumper. Yeah, hmm? that
Yeah,
that
Mythbusters, the whole thing
Lexus
with that.
570. That Lexus 570 or that Infinity QX80, they've got those aftermarket reinforced bumpers. You just kind of do a little pushing and work your way through the crowd. Nobody's going to care about some scratches on their car. The world's over. There's no insurance companies. Who cares? And then the last one would be like a military rig with a reinforced bumper. But once again, depending on how big or whatever your military rig is, you're not going to get it through some tight stuff unless you've got some speed or whatever. So, along the same lines here, you got blocked roads where you need to drive around obstacles. That could be legitimate roadblocks. It could be bridges are out. So, who knows? Train tracks in your way. So, here you go. You're walking again. You're pulling that wagon. You got your horse. You're on a bicycle, motorcycle, or you've got something with four-wheel drive or all-wheel drive that you can power through them.
And maybe a winch to help clear some of those obstacles.
There you go. Yeah.
Or snorkel so you can Dante Peaks it through the river.
Yeah.
Know your vehicle's limitations, please.
So Ben, what kind of rig would you do if you had a large group of people? Say your in-laws came to your house because the apocalypse is happening. You've got some neighbors that you really care about. You got this large group of people. How are you gonna bug out with 12 people?
Oh, I'd probably go steal a school bus.
You're
Yeah.
liking the school bus.
It's an easy solution. I've got a school bus depot 2 miles away from my house, and like a military vehicle. I mean, if they have keys, I don't know if they have keys or not. If they don't have keys, it's not that hard. They're pretty well maintained. So I mean, there you go. You've got everything taken care of.
Yeah. What are some other options if you don't have a school bus depot near you?
Well, there's motorhomes, military rigs. There's a plethora on the used market of military rigs,
Mhm.
SUVs. I've got my Ford Expedition. I can fit 8 people in that. I think it is.
Yeah, but you're not taking
That,
much stuff
Eight
with you.
eight people
that's
legally.
legally.
8 people legally, yeah. You can
Yeah.
stack them in there. Ford
I
would.
can stack them on there. Kids sitting on people's laps. The whole shebang. On top of it, it's got a nice towing capacity. I've got the trailer. Load that
Yep.
sucker full of some food and water and head out. Strap a
You
bunch
got
of crap
side
to the roof.
you got sideboards on it.
Yes, I do.
You do the secret. You could do the Secret Service thing where they're standing on the sides.
Yeah, they better be holding some ARs ready to
There you go.
ready to
Yeah,
get some.
Eric knows all about Secret Service stuff.
I
Standing
was
on the sides of
I was going to mention that.
the
Make sure there's not any mud.
any mud puddles to splash your friends that are hanging off the sides. Yeah.
Oh,
Yep. And then if you don't have a way to accommodate that many people, once again, you're walking. Nobody likes to walk.
a whole
Jeremy?
gaggle of horses.
What are you going to do if the roads aren't paved or if there's a natural disaster or damaged infrastructure?
Well, I'm probably going to just be taking my Jeep for me and my family.
Well, hang on a
Has bent
second.
axle still. Sorry.
But yeah,
Eh,
your axle's bent, homeboy. Are you going to be like, okay, no natural disasters until after my axle comes?
yes, indeed. Fine, I'll steal somebody's Jeep. There's some nice looking Jeeps in my neighborhood, so
Yeah.
we'll just take one of those. Otherwise, I mean, if it was just myself, I'd do pretty good on my dirt bike, but obviously, I can't take a family on a dirt bike.
They do it in India.
Whew,
Yeah, I guess there's nobody to pull me over.
Yep.
That's true.
But again, not taking much if that's what you're doing.
Yeah. Yeah.
But some other options. Once again, you might be walking, or you might be taking a horse, or maybe a bicycle, and definitely something with 4-wheel drive. You'd probably want something with low range.
What was that? What was that Hyundai last week that we talked about that had the articulating legs with?
Oh
electric?
yeah, that concept vehicle.
Yeah, that would be great for the unpaved roads and natural disasters.
Except for it's probably gonna, if you could get your hands on it, it would probably be a one-off. So broken parts would be a problem.
Yeah, you're gonna need a machinist. Yeah.
So Aaron, what would you do? What would you want to take if you had something with an EMP?
Well, I'm bugging in. I'm not going anywhere. So I don't need anything. But I'm gonna need a vehicle so I can go raid all the other farms and houses and towns and communities around me. So if an EMP happened, bugging out, apparently you can keep walking with an EMP. So for those who don't know, EMP is an electromagnetic pulse. The thought behind them is that they are going to damage the computer chips and other sensitive electronics in vehicles. So what works when an EMP happens? Horses generally work. They don't have very many computer chips, so you should be good. Bicycles generally work. Older carbureted motorcycles and older carbureted cars and trucks. The theory is that they'll still work. Or some military vehicles are EMP proof. There might be some tinfoil hat people out there that have built EMP proof garages and things like that. So there might be a couple of vehicles running around that do work, but not very many options other than older vehicles in the vehicle category for that.
Carbureted dirt bike with a kickstart.
There you go. Yep.
Yeah, and I've heard a bunch of different theories with the whole EMP thing. Like it needed a points ignition to be able to start. So I think that would go beyond carburetor a little bit. I mean, like your VW Bugs had the points ignition. I can't remember what years that became less of a thing after the 60s, I'd imagine.
Yeah. Rick says that Jeremy is not going to be allowed to steal his Jeep because he has weapons.
Well, I mean, I'll just recruit him into my posse.
Into your Jeep stealing gang.
Yeah, we'll steal all the Jeeps.
Ooh, get me a new Jeep.
In Minecraft.
Yeah. Ben will still be rolling around on used tires, though he won't steal new tires in the apocalypse.
But I got these Ruby takeoffs with only 50 miles on them.
Yeah. So, um, clearly the horse is your best option here. They're faster than walking. You can haul gear with them. They're EMP proof. They're quiet. Horse has got to be the best option, right? So
I'd say so.
Yep.
yeah. So get in contact with the landlord of your apartment complex and see if they mind if you keep a horse in one of your spare bedrooms.
Yeah, they even got a low range with those horses.
Tell them that you can put your horse out and they will cut down on the landscape bills. 'Cause
Totally.
they'll just keep the grass and the vegetation. So,
Yeah. Why not?
all jokes aside about horses, I mean horses are great. Just not very many people have access to them. But you got to pick what suits your current situation, or what you think might happen in the world. So, yeah, check it out, figure it out. So, speaking of world-changing events, let's talk about building an apocalypse vehicle. So this would be a rig that you would build after a cataclysmic event happens that brought the world to its knees. So everyone's just trying to survive. There's roving gangs of Jeep thieves everywhere, looting and pillaging, and you need protection from these guys. I, in the comments here, firsthand, Rick has got weapons, so you got to look out. But traveling is important. You got to meet up with those other colonies so you can trade. How else are you going to get your patches after the world ends? You don't have a if you don't have a patch maker in your colony, you got to go to the other colony to get a patch.
It's going to be the currency of the apocalypse.
There it is, right there. So for this last part of our episode, we thought it would be fun to build our own apocalypse vehicles. So, Ben, why don't you start off? Tell us about your apocalypse rig.
Well, I went with a Tesla truck. It's quiet. It's got good loads of space in it. I'm gonna need lots of solar blankets to charge it during the day. I'm gonna go 35-inch tires. It's fast and quiet. I'm gonna add some guns with some suppressors because you want to go in with the whole quiet and all that. And I'm only gonna move at night when people are sleeping or raiding other people. And I'll be wearing NVGs, night vision goggles, with IR light bars, so I'll be able to see. No one else will
Yeah.
be able to see.
Until somebody's coming the other direction with their headlights on.
That's true.
Well, then I'm
That's
screwed.
true. You're
Well,
blinded.
I guess I could go IR webcams or night vision webcams and have those
There you
mounted on
go.
the front and
There
use
you
like
go.
Tesla screen with the auto drive, so it's
Yeah.
driving, and then I could be manning a gun at the same time.
Yeah. Why do you need IR to even drive? Just let the Tesla do it.
Well,
Yeah.
I think it needs light. Or won't
Yeah,
you need light?
who knows if the Tesla's required to have the headlights on at nighttime.
Oh yeah,
Um,
you might not be able to get around that. Well, I guess you could just pull the bulbs.
or spray paint over them. Spray paint over
Yeah,
'em.
that too.
Duct tape.
Yeah.
Duct tape's
Um,
probably better in case you
I-
wanted to add them back.
I thought the Tesla Cybertruck came with 35-inch tires, or maybe that was an option that they were talking about.
I couldn't remember. I figured 35s would be a safe, good, keep your fuel economy decent. I mean,
Yeah.
it might be better to go 33s for that, for your range, but I wanted to keep a
34.6s.
good capability and range. Trying to find that balance because if I have to charge the sucker with solar blankets, I'm gonna need a lot of solar blankets.
Yeah. One thing you didn't mention here is that I'm pretty sure that the Cybertruck, the sheet metal on it is pervious to small arms fire.
Ooh, yeah, I might have to up armor it, huh? That should be
And
too.
well, at least from the factory, it's impervious to like pistol rounds and stuff like that. And then the glass is supposed to be shatter resistant as long as you
Looks
aren't
to be.
using large ball bearings. But yeah, it's supposed to be shatter resistant. So yeah,
Yeah, ask them how that went when they did the reveal.
yeah, but at least the glass didn't fall all over the place. It still held together.
Yeah,
Better
that's
than
true.
nothing. It's better than nothing.
Fine,
So-
fine.
Tell us about your rig, Jeremy.
Well, I kind of just went turnkey and ended up going with a Earth Cruiser dual cab EXP since obviously I have a family, so the dual cab is really nice to have. So you're not trying to cram everybody in on a single bench seat.
You're not planning to ditch your family when the apocalypse happens? Be like, peace
No,
out.
no.
Okay, just checking. Just checking.
I mean, well, I'll leave to go steal some Jeeps, but coming back,
Okay, all right.
probably try to find a way to up armor some parts of it. Probably not the whole thing, but probably the driver compartment at least, the passenger cabin. So also, uh, it comes with 37-inch tires, and it's highly capable off road, especially for its size. So that's going to be a benefit. My kind of goal would probably be to try to just get out in the middle of nowhere and get as far away from people as possible. Let everybody else take care of each other until things settle down. You can get them with it comes standard with a 16,500 pound winch on the front. You can get them in the rear as well. So you could ultimate self recovery. It comes with 2 full 100% duty air compressors. Best part is you can live in it, and I would definitely give it a rattle can camo paint job because it would kind of stick out like a sore thumb because most of them are white unless you're in the snow. And then
Yeah.
definitely throw some solar panels up on the roof.
Yeah. That's a good
Well,
build,
Aaron,
and most of it's factory.
Yes, and Earth Cruiser's not very far from here.
It's true.
Aaron, what about you, man? What you doing?
Well, I went the armored truck route. I figured I want to join Jeremy's gang, stealing all the Jeeps. That reminds me, wasn't there like a news story we did about a year ago where there was all these Jeeps being stolen out of Southern California and driven down into Mexico?
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah, that just popped into my head. Um, anyways, yes, armored truck. So like a Brinks armored truck that they use to transport money from stores to banks and stuff like that. Get one of those. They're usually on some sort of chassis, larger truck chassis, but some of those larger truck chassis are compatible with four-wheel drive setups. So I would, if I could, make it four-wheel drive to help me get out of any sticky situations. Slight lift, nothing major because it's going to be heavy. I don't need it to flop over on its side because you're pretty vulnerable if you can't move and you're on your side.
well, plus your house is now on its side.
Yeah, but I mean, if you're sleeping in hammocks, it's not that big of a deal. They've got a large cargo capacity. Jeremy was looking them up before the show. They generally weigh 12,000 pounds, but they can gross out to 25,000 pounds. So that means they can have like 13,000 pounds of cargo capacity. That's a lot of cargo.
That's a lot of gold bars.
It's a lot of gold bars.
Also,
Yeah.
I just want to point out you can carry a whole nother truck.
That's true.
A whole nother truck inside your truck. It'd be like what Inception. Is that movie?
So,
Inception?
yeah, similar to Jeremy's rig, you can sleep inside of this one because it's got to have a large box on the back. I would be adding some auxiliary fuel tanks to it to get some extended range. I'd put a small water tank inside of it. Probably only need like 15, 20 gallons. Nothing huge. Now is the fun part. You cut a hole in the roof. One of those mill surplus Humvees that you ran off the road with your armored truck and pillaged parts from. You put a turret up there for your machine gun. You can use that hole as a sniper perch. Lots of extra lights. I'll be installing all the Chinese lights on this thing. They've got flat roofs, so definitely doing solar on top of it. As much solar as I can. Dual spare tire carrier on the back because they're awesome. And I don't know. I probably have to fabricate this, but I'd love to have one of those V-shaped snow plows on the front. I think they had one of those in Mythbusters one time, and it was just driving down a line of cars, and they were just exploding out of the way as the plow was coming through. So yeah, V plow on front, camo paint like Jeremy. We're gonna be twinsies because we're in the same Jeep stealing gang. Trailer hitch on the back, probably one on the front as well, but a trailer hitch on the back with a motorcycle, like a dual sport motorcycle on it, and an ARB fridge inside to keep my drinks cold.
Sounds like you got a good rig going there.
Yeah,
You know,
honest. Go ahead.
good. Oh, I was gonna say something really cool about those that wasn't mentioned is they have auto chains on them. Have you guys
Some
ever
of
seen
them
those?
do, yeah. Yeah, school buses do too.
Where they just like it's spinning chains to help give it traction. They really help out with the because I guess what you'd have to add front wheel drive to it. That'd be a lot easier to do than to make it 4-wheel drive than rear wheel drive.
Yeah, they're rear wheel drive trucks, so you'd have to add some sort of complete new axle up front, transfer case, drive shaft kind of setup. So I don't know. It wouldn't have to be some crazy bomb proof thing either, because it's not like you're taking this thing on the Rubicon. It's just so you can have traction in poor traction situations.
Yep.
So yep, that's my rig. That's my build. Time to find an armored truck.
Well, I hope there's a Brinks depot near you.
Yeah.
Don't forget to visit Patriot Patch and join the Patch of the Month Club. Check out our Gaia affiliate link for up to 40% off. Also, don't forget to head over to Warren and Power Tank to see all of their great gear. We are a proud part of the Firearms Radio Network. Got a question or comment? Send it to us through our webpage at firearmsradio.tv or through our social media channels by searching for Off-Road Podcast. Also, you can listen to us live at overlandradio.com, Mondays at 7 p.m. Pacific. When off-road, please remember to have fun, tread lightly, be safe and courteous, and thanks for listening.
And a reminder, don't forget to visit Medical Gear Outfitters and use that coupon code Off-Road Podcast for 10% off.
Yeah, go buy those kits.
Please.
There we go. I like Rick's. I'd steal a fire engine with lots of gear and a water cannon for riot control. Can you imagine driving through a crowd with a water cannon on top? Get out the way!